certain someone's back in the news again, and he's been indicted.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, 34 counts of indictment.
Is it
I mean, New
34?
York's
I knew that.
34.
Yeah, that's a lot.
34. I don't know what podcast it was I listened to. Maybe it was a social media where you said something where you used to be a Republican at one point.
Yeah.
And then you've changed, I guess,
I
or
feel
maybe
like you missed a really good segue there.
Okay, go.
With talking about Raquel Rodriguez having a really, really good Monday, being the number one contender, then having a really, really bad Tuesday. When her boy Donald Trump got indicted on 34 counts.
She's a MAGA girl. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is with it. I got friends that Trump people.
I've got friends that have family that are Trumpers as well.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't talk politics on Facebook, because that's where all my family are. So you won't see me post a damn thing about politics on my Facebook page anymore.
I hate that shit though. Like I feel like I should be able to say what I want to say, and that's it. You don't like it? Well, tough shit.
I do. That's why I do it on Twitter, because I don't even want to deal with family barking up my tree about their beliefs. So I don't care. I know what their beliefs are, and I don't care to engage with family about politics. That's why I keep it off.
How do you think I feel? I'm in the middle. So I'm actually, I'm obviously not a Trump guy, but I'm also pretty critical of Democrats too. And I get accused by my left-leaning fan members of being I'm also a former Republican, being a guy that's, oh, well, you like Trump. You're like, no. Why does that be either or, right? Can it be critical thinking and leave it at that?
That's the problem, though. Nobody wants to think.
No.
Everybody wants to just to bark out those hot takes, those key words, those moments of social media looking for clout because it's the cool thing to do, whether you're on the right or the left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So former Republican through college, which is quite a liberal experience. Really, honestly.
Wait, did you change through college?
No, I did not. No, I was a Republican the entire way through college. I was a brief member of like the Kutztown Republican caucus or whatever the hell they call themselves. A little party.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
It was during the Bush, was it the re-election campaign? So it would have been 2002, 2003, 2003, 2004. Where we actually canvassed the town of Kutztown. I was knocking on doors and talking to the town people. You got your list of registered Republicans, and you're going to door, and you're like, hey, can George Bush trust you with your vote coming up this week? I mean, I was doing calls. I was making phone calls and phone banks.
Wow.
I was pretty active. I saw him speak twice on campaign stops in the Lancaster Airport and Hershey, Pennsylvania. But so I was in there, man. I really was.
I voted for him in 2004 re-election. I didn't vote for him in 2000. I voted for so like with me, I voted for John McCain in the primaries.
Okay.
And then when he lost, I voted for Al Gore in the general. And then I went with Bush in 2004 mainly because at the time too. Also, I thought it was actually the smart move at the time to stay the course what we were doing at the time. Obviously, in hindsight, I regret it in hindsight how things played out those next couple of years with Iraq and with the WMDs and all that. I mean, obviously we know all how that played out. But at the time, I was 24 years old at the time, and I was still pretty young and naive, and and especially my a lot of my conservative background growing up was more so in church.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in church, and obviously I've gotten older. That's all been shredded away now. I'm not a liberal and liberal progressive bastard, but I do have views on each side depending on what the views are. But
yeah, man, I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. How fucking red do you think this area can be?
Is that red?
Because it's redder. Yeah, it's as red as you think it's going to be. I mean, it is the spot in Pennsylvania where you have blue Philadelphia and blue Pittsburgh, and that big old chunk of red in the middle. The Lancaster County's right in there.
It's funny because like prior to 2016, no Democrat had won a presidential election in that state since 1988.
Yeah, it was very right leaning. Obviously, the northern areas is less populated. The whole top area is pretty red. But Lancaster, I think, is changing a lot. And I feel like myself, coming out of college, kind of starting to figure out who you are a little bit more. You're 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents' politics and your grandparents' politics, what you grew up with, doesn't have to represent you.
Yep. I totally relate to that.
Kind of becoming aware of that. I believe I voted McCain the first year. That's when Obama would have won.
Yeah.
The second term I voted for Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Who was running? Was
Romney.
that McCain?
Romney.
Romney, right? Didn't love Romney. So went Obama. Because again, I thought it was smart to just kind of stay the course of what Obama has got us to. Let's keep going.
Right.
And then
2016.
Donald Trump happened. And I feel like I was center, maybe left of center, but I could still see where the Republicans were on the right. Does that make sense?
No, it makes more sense.
And then Donald Trump came, and I feel like that line moved far away. Where like you have the center, you have the liberals, and you have the conservatives. And then all of a sudden the conservatives slipped even further away from center. And I started to not really recognize, especially like the MAGA Republican.
Right.
Beyond like the Donald Trump bullshit with the bullying and the or whatever he does on like beyond all that stupid Donald Trump shit. At the core, I felt like they slid much further to the right. And that pushed me further left.
So I see what you're saying. I totally agree with you. A lot of those Republicans, though, too, especially that weren't necessarily Trump people, I would say in 2016 and leading up in the years past that, they felt trapped. I think they felt trapped because here's this guy that is saying the things I want to hear. He's signing on the policies I agree with, but he's an abhorrent human being. I had conversations with people who I grew up with, Republicans, evangelical Republicans who, are probably more on the Mike Pence trip. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, that said that they felt trapped. Like they don't like the guy, but he signs up with everything they believe in.
Yeah.
And that's why they vote for him. And I get it. I'm not gonna judge him for it, but I get it. And I don't know. Like to me, it's not enough for me to, okay, because he just owns the libs. That doesn't fly by me anymore. I mean, 2016, I can understand that because it was fresh, it was new. Yep. I'll admit, 2015, when he first announced his running, I was intrigued by it. I was just intrigued by the whole idea.
I was very intrigued too. What are we gonna get?
Yeah,
Donald Trump is a brash human being.
Because
he knew that going in. Is he going to really say what he wants to say? He's gonna just tweet whatever he wants to, and sure enough, he did.
And say what you want about Donald Trump, you may have liked. He has shaking up the entire political process in a way we've never seen before. It needs to be shaken up. I agree, but at the same time, is he the guy that should be the one that done it? I mean, I don't know.
What did he shake up? I feel like
what
the Republicans have this thing of I think wanting to elect a celebrity. I mean, we saw it with Ronald Reagan, and they love the guy,
right?
Let's elect a celebrity, and he'll be the guy, the face of our party.
But Reagan was more of the outward compassionate Republican.
Reagan, yeah.
Obviously, in hindsight, we can judge it now in hindsight. But the way he presented himself, same way George Bush. You may like his politics, but he always come up as the compassionate Republican.
Here's the thing about George Bush. I feel like you can look at George Bush today, and he's not the same George Bush that he was when he was running for president. I feel like even George Bush has probably slipped a little bit to the left of where he was standing when he originally was running for president and during his tenure.
Well,
I feel like George Bush probably lands a little closer to the centrists than anybody would actually want to admit.
Well, that's it though. Like George Bush and the Clintons are not really, if you really break it down, they're not that far off.
They're really not.
They're really not that different. Like this is the big thing about the way we look at politics. Like everything, especially people who are now into the process now in recent years that don't know much about the history of this thing. And so, as I've been saying for the last year or so, and even 2 years, there's a real realignment going on right now in the way we look at politics. Like, it's That's why I hate the two-party system. You feel strangled by this either or. If we had a more open system like they do in Europe, for example, you can fracture the Democratic Party into like 5 or 6 different parties easily. Republicans probably three ways. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of folks they look at, oh, you're blue, you're a libtard, no matter what, but don't understand how policy-wise there's a lot of divide in the Democratic Party between the progressives and then like some of the more elites. But all they see is blue and you're libtard. Well, therefore you're this and that, and I'm going to own you. And to me, that doesn't fly. And I think Republicans that's their way to win elections now, because if you debate policy, they're not going to win anything. This is why they have these fucking culture wars now, these drag queen things and all this transgender stuff. Which is it a thing? Yeah, I guess like 0.5% of this country, but top policy.
I mean, is it a thing? Why is it even a thing? Like it shouldn't be a thing. I mean, at the core, I just want to be a better person than I was the day before. That's really what ultimately
about power, dude.
That's really what ultimately moved me, I think. More than Donald Trump, more than anything, is I just want to be a better person than I was the day before. And that's how I live my life every day. You know what?
No, I agree with you.
Love is love, man. I could give 2 shits who you want to marry. Marry a black dude, marry a white dude, marry a white chick, marry a black chick, marry a transgender black I don't care. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Love who you want to love, man. It's that simple. Love is love.
No.
It really there's and I feel like there's one party that aligns with that much better than the other party.
And that's the case. I mean, say you want with the Democratic Party, and I have my criticism. It's on record. But the reason why I voted Democrat mostly in the last couple of cycles is because of the fact that the things I care about, they are closer. I'm not saying they are, but they're closer aligned to the things I believe in than the Republicans are today in 2022.
I don't know why it has to be extreme one way or the other. Like it doesn't.
Unfortunately,
like, I feel like when I was a Republican,
right,
the hard issue was like we are a financial conservative. I'm a fiscally aware conservative,
and that's why I'm torn, because in theory I agree with that. To this day I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm very frugal in the way I spend. Things we spend a certain way, and I'm for smaller. I'm a smaller government, not small. Look, you can't have small government. It has to be smaller at least, but small. Like it's impossible to have small government in this day and age. It's just too much shit.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. But I can see the fiscal side of things, and that's where my, we're going to call conservative leanings. So be it. It is. But the reality is that's not how the country is anymore. It's a hybrid country.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, I am one for. I think the United States should probably have some sort of universal health care. I think we are.
I've changed on that too. I used to be anti that. Now I am
as advanced as we are as a nation, and where we I think like to think that we are as a nation, for us to not have some sort of universal health care is really shocking. But at the same time, I don't feel like you can have that and then claim conservative fiscal being a fiscal conservative, because that's gonna cost a lot of money. So how do you be like, we have to tighten the purse straps, but also let's spend a little bit of money here. So I don't know. I feel like I've often come through that. I know far too many LGBTQ plus people in my family, as my friends, as coworkers, that I truly do love as individuals. And I feel like there's one party that stands with them and one party that stands against them. I'm not saying that everybody on the right stands against them, but I feel like there's one party that wants to make their lives a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. And it's clear.
And I just can't, I support that, man. I just can't, if I'm straight, I'm a straight white cis 40-year-old man. I'm as boring as they come. Like I am cookie cutter. Nobody gives a shit about me as an individual. And I understand that, but I have a voice and I can stand with them. and I can rally with them and support them, and that's what I want to do. I didn't choose to be straight. I never chose to like be aroused by a female. I never made that choice. I never consciously made that decision. So I can't believe somebody that's gay would ever, make that decision to be gay. I think they were born that way. So you have to go back to like the religion,
right?
With people that are like, oh, I can't believe in 2023 we're still having arguments about gay folks. Are you kidding? Like, come on now.
Although that part is, I will say that the gay part is probably less of an issue. It's more the other, trans and drag queens part. If you get, further into the discussion about that, that's where it gets a little more, okay, well, fine, gay, this and that, but now we're going, like I said, I think
that's fine. Like if we're going to go through the LGBTQ plus and we're struggling with the T right now in LGBT, then let's support those T's. That's my, if we're going to break it down, let's support them. That's fine. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not transsexual. I'm not transgender, but I can support them. I can show my solidarity with them because those are human beings and they deserve every right that I have myself. It's that simple.
So where to next? Like, so Donald Trump obviously is indicted. Where, like, I don't think there's anything gonna happen with this case. I think the case you worried about is the one in Georgia. Honestly, that's the one I'm really like. And they're saying that he might be indicted by the end of this month.
Yeah, what is it? 34 counts in New York.
34 of this one, yeah, New York, right? And that's it.
I don't know. Donald Trump's going to do what he can to make himself look innocent, to make himself look like it's a non-issue. I think it's going to be tough to prove his intent. How do you ever prove intent? Because I think that's part of it. You have to prove he intended to do something. I forget. I'm not a lawyer. So that's going to be tough. They're going to have work cut out for him. I guess we're not going to hear anything until December, I believe.
No.
For this, he pled not guilty.
And by then, we'll be right near the caucus season right there.
Right. And then Trump can control the narrative that this is them, the elites, the left wing, whatever keywords are going to rile his base up. This is them trying to interfere with 2024. And all of a sudden, election interference is a hot button Republican issue.
Right.
All over again. Man, here's what it comes down to. I want presidents. I want famous people. I want celebrities. I want billionaires to be held accountable if they broke the law. It's that simple. I'm never going to go to jail for things that Donald Trump is being charged for. I don't have that kind of money to ever go to jail for those things. But if I get pulled over for speeding and I'm not wearing my seatbelt, I fully intend to get a ticket because I broke the law.
That's fair is fair. Fair is fair. I agree. Man. Yeah.
And if you have a great lawyer and you can afford a great lawyer and that lawyer gets you off, you beat the system. Because that's what the system is.
I thought after 2020 that this party would probably be ready to move on from him. Guess not.
How do you move on from him?
He owns the party. He owns the core of that party.
How do you move on?
Like I would say he's not as popular as he was maybe 2020, like 17, 2018, but he still doesn't have an influence where like even people who don't want anything to do with him have to kowtow to him, because if not, then he's gonna stick his sycophants to hit towards the guy that criticizes his party. Criticize him.
Man, and I don't know how. If you're a Republican, you could sit and feel really comfortable about Donald Trump being the face of your party. Not because I think Donald Trump is a bad guy, because Donald Trump has done nothing positive for the Republicans since he's left office. 2020 he's left office. 2021, not great. 2022, the midterm elections, we're supposed to see this big red wave, barely eked out in the House. Is that a huge win that Donald Trump, we're going to win so big?
He got the House and then lost a seat in the Senate.
Like, that's not a big win. You have to worry yourself. Just the other day, was it yesterday in Wisconsin, the judge. They flipped
I saw that.
a judge in Wisconsin on their on one of the jury. I forget exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's a big loss for the Republicans. There's not been a ton of Donald Trump winning since Donald Trump has left office. And if you're a Republican, that should scare you.
And that's what I understand too. Also, like the abortion, it's a losing issue, the abortion issue.
Oops.
And you double down anyway.
Right.
I don't understand that part. Even people in your own base agrees that at the very least, women's rights should be on the table. And you still double down on it anyway.
You double down on it, right?
I don't get it.
I don't, man. And here's the deal: who's your alternative if you're a Republican? You have to look at Florida. Do you love what's happening down there with the books?
Yeah. And that's another thing too.
They're banning, drag shows in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Is a drag show? Is that just somebody's First Amendment? I can't partake in my First Amendment if there's a child around. Not saying that I'm a drag queen because I'm not. But adults play dress up sometime, man. It's that simple.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
There's a great example. I can't wait till that gets canceled.
What is I'm saying too? Also, like
Mrs. Doubtfire.
So I'm in Florida, for example, and I don't understand the win here for DeSantis here. Like he won an election by almost 20 points, this past November, and instead of sticking to policy, you now want to double down on these issues that, and especially if you want to run for president, these issues are going to hurt you in a general election. I don't understand what the play here is. Why do you feel need to double down these culture war issues? Because you can't win on policy.
Because you can't. That's exactly what it is.
Democrats what Democrats love or hate them. You may disagree with the policies. That's fine. But when it comes to which party of the two has more popular policies for the general populace, Democrats have that in spades.
Yeah,
the Republicans do not. Which is why Republicans go through these culture wars and to find a way around to win votes.
Right, rile your base about something that the majority of their base just don't understand.
I don't
think there's a lot of Republicans that are going to drag shows. Oh, and it is kind of weird. Men wearing dresses and wearing makeup. That is bizarre. That's not who I am. And then all of a sudden you get told that that's scary.
Yeah.
And then that could affect your kids. And you're like, well, nothing's gonna fuck with my kids. These are my kids.
Right.
If anything's gonna fuck my kids up, it's me.
Right.
So I don't understand it. It's scary. I'm being told it's scary. I'm being told it can affect my kids. Oh, well, this guy wants to put a stop to that. I can get behind that. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're supporting things you don't even understand you're supporting.
Right.
You're infringing on people's First Amendment rights.
But you want to own the libs.
Because you're told it was scary. And I'm going to own them. Correct.
Own the libs. That's all I care about. Own the libs.
But that's all. That goes back to Donald Trump and winning. We're going to own you. We're going to win. We're going to dominate. We're going to be the bully. Bully politics, man. I'm over that. I'm over that shit, whether it's right or left. I'm just so over it.
Oh, yeah.